we're introducing to our giant panel of awesome X-folk here. So, starting off, Mr. Tom Brevoort, SVP, Executive Editor. Mr. C.B. Cebulski, SVP, Creator and Content Development. Can we do the lights a little bit too, guys, so we can see the screen a little better? Thank you. Yeah. Next, the man with two personalities. He's got a puppet and he's got himself that will answer questions. Mr. Jordan D. White, editor of Deadpool and some other books. Jordan, let's have your puppet say hi as well. Okay.
This is what he sounds like. I'll bet him. He's in there.
Incredible. Also here, I'm not sure if he's here quite yet, is Mr. Rick Remender, writer for Candy Avengers. Then, making his marvelous return to X-Men panels, Mr. Paul Cornell, writer of Wolverine. One of the coolest dudes you'll meet, and heck of a writer as well, Mr. Brian Wood, writer of Xmen. Perfectly timed for his slide, artist of both Wolverine and the X-Men, Eisner winner Ramon Perez. Now guys, give Rick a taste of what he missed. Rick Remender, everybody. Wait. That's very smooth.
Your seat's right over there. What are you doing?
Wait. Guys, I want to hear cheers for Declan Shelby, but he's the Venom artist. Why is he here? Let's hear it for Declan. I wonder if there's an announcement somewhere. Then, kick-ass colorist, Jordy Belair. Jordy, let's hear it for Jordy. Right. And then, less exciting is me, Arun Singh, Director of Communications. These guys validate us. All right, first, how many of you are reading and loving the Candy Avengers? You know, who else is having a great time is Rick himself. Rick, you've talked a little bit about this, but those are some familiar characters on the cover. It looks like Banshee and Daken, and what's going on?
Well, what is going on? If you've been reading X-Force, or if you're familiar with the Apocalypse mythology at all, and you guys like Apocalypse?
Yeah!
We're trying to escalate things where what we saw in X-Force was an apocalypse was beginning to rise, and it was archangels. Warren Worthington finally was going to ascend to this terrible throne and be the caretaker of evolution. And he was put down. He was killed by Betsy. If you haven't read it, spoiled now. And the fun of that was that it was an underground situation where they were trying to quell this thing before it became a big worldwide threat. The difference between a book like Uncanny X-Force and Uncanny Avengers is going to be, one is going to be in the shadows and covert, and the other one is going to be a big world-shaking threat. So what we're seeing here is the new Apocalypse, which are the Apocalypse twins, which are the children of Warren Worthington and Pestilence, have ascended. They were raised by Kang in the future to do mischievous deeds, and instead of just making another Four Horsemen when they grab a pestilence and a plague and all of those things, they've decided to do, basically, when Warren Worthington becomes Archangel, that's him becoming Death, and Death is the heir of Apocalypse and the most powerful servant of Apocalypse. And so what the Apocalypse twins have done is to create the Four Horsemen of Death, where they've got 4 deaths, where they have taken 4 death seeds from 4 Celestials. This sounds a lot like D&D when I go through it. It almost sounds like I sit in my house by myself being an insane person. The mythology of Apocalypse. But it's what I get paid to do. But the long and the short of it is that these guys are the 4 Horsemen of Death, and they are they're tough characters. Obviously, you've got the Sentry, who's a pretty powerful character. And he's got each one of them have contacts with our cast as well. So you're going to see a big Sentry Thor knockdown fight, which will hopefully be more interesting than just people punching each other really hard. We're going to try and find ways around that. We've got Grim Reaper, who was recently put down by Rogue, so there's a little context there. We've obviously got Wolverine's son Dokken, who he drowned in a puddle, so there's probably some bad blood. And then Banshee, who was killed by Alex Summers' brother. So all characters that I like a lot and we're going to have a lot of fun with. So buy that comic.
I like that you said there's probably bad blood between Wolverine and the son that he killed. As if it's another option.
I haven't written it yet, I'm not really sure.
They might just
you might be like you drown me in a puddle, but come on.
I'm sort of a jerk, I get that.
I got a bad mohawk, I don't know what to do. These tribal tattoos were a terrible idea, I'd be ashamed. If anybody has tribal tattoos, they're a great idea.
Alright, next, I think another book you guys might have heard of and you love. How many are reading All New Xmen? You guys all know by the sound of what this book is about. The X-Men, the original X-Men from the past or in the present, and you've seen how they've been involved with Mystique a bit, with Cyclops' X-Men team, Wolverine's X-Men team, and are encountering the Marvel Universe at large. Jordan, I know you work on this.
Sure do.
What can you tell us a little bit about what's coming up in All New X-Men under Brian there?
Well, let's see. What's the most recent issue that's come out? Yeah, as you can see, Mystique has been putting together a nefarious group of people made up of Sabretooth and Lady Mastermind, who is the daughter of Mastermind, who they kind of go, oh, she just call herself Mastermind, so she might do that. Jean has been going through some craziness where she messed with Warren's head for a while, and it was a little dark. And the question is, can she stay good? Well, things aren't looking so hot, are they?
And next is a sister title, Uncanny X-Men. How many of you are loving this book too? Cyclops leads the new revolution. Brian introduced some new characters in here who are pretty cool, and as you guys saw, Angel has left the All New X-Men folks and joined, original Angel we should say, has joined Uncanny X-Men. And Jordan, what else is next for the Revolution here? That cover doesn't make it look so good for Cyclops.
No, it doesn't. Well, I mean, yeah, since the beginning of the new series, it's been a question of whose side Magneto's on, and it looks like things are going to be coming to a head as far as that goes. You know, he said he was, he went to S.H.I.E.L.D. and said, I'm against them, and then he told the X-Men, I just went to S.H.I.E.L.D. because I was tricking them. But what do you guys think? Do you trust Magneto? Do you think he's on Scott's side? Or no. Wait, okay, by applause, who trusts Magneto?
Yeah, right there.
Magneto is betraying Scott.
Who just wants Jordan's puppet voice to lead the X-Men? So guys, next, they're one of the big X-Men books we have, Wolverine and the X-Men. How many of you love this series? Now, quick show of hands. You know, it's been a little while now. Who's Team Wolverine? Yeah. Who's Team Cyclops? Hey, there's some of you guys that raise your hands. Who's Team Avengers in this room? What? Get out. Just Tom loves you, but get out. So Wolverine and the X-Men, they've been going through some craziness, and we're going to take a look at the future here, courtesy of the beautiful art of Ramon Perez, paired with the incredible writing of Jason Aaron. So Ramon, what do you have coming up in the series?
I'm actually leaving the series.
That was really not what I was looking for.
But actually,
And I refuse to speak of it any further.
but this issue was actually a lot of fun because I got to draw the school about 50 years in the future, and you know, 1,000,001 new characters plus takes on old characters, and it's always fun to see and speculate where characters are going to go. And you know, I mean, Wolverine looks kind of cool with a beard, you know, kind of awesome. But it's a fun issue, and you get to see like just what kids don't make it, what kids do make it in the future, and you know, it's obviously an alternate future, but you never know where it's going to go.
And you did get to draw pigeons on the cover like you wanted.
That's true. I demanded pigeons, and they did that.
We had a sketch where he wanted to do pigeons, and Nick kept going, what, pigeons are boring, nobody wants to see Wolverine feeding pigeons. And so Jason Aaron said, well, I know what Nick always loves, so just have Wolverine kissing the pigeons.
That's true. So
We had a drawing of Wolverine kissing a pigeon.
yeah, it didn't get greenlit.
All right, so that's so now you've brought us down, Ramon. What's it been like working on the series, though? I mean,
Oh, it's
you're
been
a big
awesome.
X-Men fan, aren't you?
I mean, Jason created a fun script that was just I love a script when you get it and you're actually laughing and enjoying it so much while reading it before even you start drawing it. It was just awesome. And he gave me a lot of liberty, dinosaurs, robots, cowboys. I mean, you can't go wrong. And yeah, it's all good stuff. But I mean, I'm probably gonna be sticking on the X title. I just can't really say what yet, so.
And then after, I will say, after that issue, we're going to have the prelude to, and then the full-blown arc of Hellfire Saga, which is pretty amazing. I don't know if you guys have noticed, but there's the Hellfire Club has been very sneaky in the background of the series for a while now, and they're making their move. It's going to be really intense. And
Yeah, I think as a teaser we lose a character to the Hellfire Club.
yeah, we do lose a character in this issue, right?
Yeah, it's very coming out, yeah.
So you get to see who switches sides.
Yeah, I was a little bit sad when it happened. Couldn't believe I had to draw that panel.
Right, sorry guys. Next, book that I know you guys are really anticipating will be out at the end of May by Mr. Brian Wood and Mr. Olivier Coipel. X-Men, how many of you excited for this? Now Brian, you've got a really awesome cast. You've got a really awesome book coming up. Tell us a bit about it. What should we expect?
Well, who's tired of waiting for this book? I've been working on this really since I finished my X-Men run last summer, so it's really been that long for me. So I'm definitely ready to go. So the cast. I mean, I've given a lot of interviews about this book that hasn't even come out yet, and I've been keeping a couple of things in reserve about it. But what I will say here, just so I can say something new, is that we have this great cast of 6, but there is one more that comes out. You'll see her at the very end of the first issue. So I will say no more about that. So this is issue 3. It's a great cover. That's all I gotta say about that.
You guys will not be disappointed if you saw what Brian did in the X-Men run with David Lopez and how he really got the voices of the characters right away and told some really different X-Men stories. You guys should be, all this time you guys are feeling, it's all worth it. I just read the first 2 scripts and it's awesome. It's really good. So, all this brings us up to a very important event in September. Do you guys know what September is? I know it's not. The 50th anniversary of the X-Men, guys. Come on, 50 years. Brian, do you think we should do something to celebrate that 50th anniversary? Do you think these guys want a big event? They haven't really had one since Second Coming.
Yeah?
Yeah, right. Well, ta-da! I think we're introducing something called X-Men Battle at the Atom, written by Brian Michael Bendis, Jason Aaron, and Brian Wood, kicking off in September. How's that sound to you guys? A beautiful cover there by Art Adams. This is going to be an event running through with an I'm going to say Alpha and Omega, but they're going to be labeled probably number 1 and number 2 book. Kicking off the event in September, the Alpha issue, or number 1, will be drawn by Frank Cho. This will run through X-Men, Wolverine and the X-Men, Uncanny X-Men, and All New X-Men. And the story, I'll tell you guys the basis of the story. The All New X-Men embark on a mission in the present that goes so wrong that the X-Men realize these guys need to go back to the past where they belong. But when that decision comes down, not all the young X-Men are very happy about that, particularly Scott and Jean. And just as this brouhaha is starting, who shows up? The X-Men from the future. And there's a character, what's her name? You guys might have heard of her, Kate Pryde? Do you guys want to see who else is on this team? Well, here's a sneak peek of some of the folks you'll see. The one on the left is Beast, the one on the right is Ice Thing, it says. I know, signed by Art Adams. Oh, great. These were actually blue originally, we grayscaled them to show up as best they could. Next, on the page, you will see Molly Hayes. Deadpool. Holly Hayes is the one second to the right. And then Zornia?
Lady Zorn.
Lady Zorn, okay, because I wrote Zornia. Lady Zorn on the right side.
The first one doesn't say the name of the character, but he definitely has very pointy eyebrows. I don't know if that's a hint to anyone.
So that gives you a first look at that team from the future. Now, Brian, I know we can't say too much about this. It's the past, present, and the future of the X-Men all colliding, but what's it been like to come and work with Brian and Jason on this incredibly huge story for the X-Men?
Well, I don't know. I'm kind of annoyed that I'm the only one here out of those carry this torch. This is the first time I've really worked on an event like this, which is it's been tricky. It's been a little intimidating, especially working with Brian and Jason. But it's good. I mean, these guys are masters at sort of writing these events, so it's been a real education, a very humbling thing. But it's also really great. I mean, I'm launching this book, and it's cool to be a part of this anniversary. I don't really know what else to say about that. I thought there was one more.
There is one more that we're not showing on purpose. Okay, the world can't see quite yet. This is, guys, there's been a lot of questions about, what will be the fate of the all-new X-Men. What is S.H.I.E.L.D. planning? You've been seeing an Uncanny X-Men, a lot of seeds have been laid there. And what are the X-Men going to be moving forward? You've seen what they've been for 50 years. They've always been changing. What is the next big thing for the X-Men? I say, Jordan, you've read the outline, you've been working on the story, you know how big this is going to be. This sort of changes the X-Men forever, really, at the end of it.
Absolutely. All four of the books that are crossing over with it are going to absolutely be majorly changed by this, and as well as just the shape of the X universe in general. And what's great about it is, because it's the four books crossing over, it's this massive 10-part epic that the fans get to read in 2 months, which is awesome. I love the way the X-Men office does that with their crossovers. It puts out this massive story like so quick, so you guys get to just have your minds blown immediately.
So that'll be all through September through October. It'll kick off with the first issue, you'll run through the 4 books. In October, you run through the 4 books and conclude with a special one-shot there at the end that is going to, you guys are going to be very shocked by how this all ends. I think you're going to be very excited because I'm going to say this now, no one can guess how it ends, which means all of you will go online and try to guess. But it is pretty epic. There's a reason the X-Men office has waited so long since Second Coming to do a big event. They wanted the right kind of event to celebrate the X-Men's 50th anniversary, and this is everything you guys want in an X-Men story. Really, it is. So round of applause for Brian, for Jordan, for everybody. Another really important book for the future of the X-Men, and aptly named so, is X-Men Legacy. How many of you guys are reading X-Men Legacy? Editor Dave Ketchum will be very happy to hear that. He loves this book. Cy Spurrier and Tan En Huat are really killing it. Legion, son of Professor X, is looking for his place in the world. How does he honor his father? What is his mission? And you guys are going to see some really twisty, mind-bending stuff coming up, as you've seen in the book. Continually with these amazing covers by Mike Del Mundo, just absolutely insane. How many of you guys love those covers on the book? It looks amazing. So look for some really exciting stuff in a double ship in July. Next, the return of Joe Madureira to the X-Men family. The Savage Wolverine along with Zeb Wells this June. It's going to be a really, really awesome story bringing Spider-Man, Wolverine, and Elektra together. And then you guys all love some Joe Mad, so hey, take a look at his art. How awesome does that look, right? How great is Joe Mad still? Come on. So this is going to be a very, very big and exciting story. If you haven't read Savage Wolverine, you're crazy, because Frank Show's doing an awesome, awesome story writing and drawing right now. But jump in with this arc, I think you're going to have a lot of fun. It's all that big, kind of crazy Marvel action you want to see Joe Mad drawing. Right. Next, how many of you love Paul Cornell's Wolverine? Let's hear it again, guys. Let's hear it. How many of you just want him to just kill off Wolverine? How many of you hate Wolverine and just want to see him die? Well, at least a few people might be somewhat happy. We have a story coming up called Wolverine Killable. Something big is going to happen. Something so big, Wolverine can be killed. And Sabretooth, learning this, decides, let's just kill the little runt. And brings together some of the deadliest folks in the Marvel Universe to hunt down Wolverine. in an awesome new arc beginning by Paul Cornell and Alan Davis in issue 7. But we got Paul here. Paul, tell us what's coming up here. This is a big story.
It's an interesting word, killable, isn't it? It's a dirty, great revenge story with Sabretooth and a number of the... Yes, it's that exciting. With Sabretooth and a number of the great X-Men villains who decide that because of something that's about to happen, Wolverine is going to become killable. And so they immediately think, we're going to do this, leading to a kind of a Western-style, gritty, tough storyline that gets more and more intense, that's emotion and action and all the things Alan does so well, and leads to... we're leading him into the shadow of the Valley of Death with Kitty Pryde by his side. It gets really, really intense. I couldn't be happier. Alan Davis, I'm wearing Alan Davis socks, I kid you not. But he can do the emotion, he can do the dirty great action, and it all starts with something enormous that happens at the end of 6, and then we're off into an enormous adventure. I couldn't be happier. I hope you guys dig it.
I know one of the mandates you had, Paul, when you started this is that you wanted the Wolverine book to be a book. We've had a lot of great Wolverine series, a lot of big things happening. You wanted this to be the series. You had a story in mind that was going to fundamentally change what Wolverine meant as a series. And I'll tell you guys right now, this ending, make sure you read this story, because when this arc comes to a close, you're going to be hearing about this story all over the world in major media. It is, I know you're groaning, oh, you're going to spoil it. Let me tell you guys right now, this is huge. This is something that you might all hate Paul for, so that's why I really want you to love him right now, because you might not love him so much when this is all done, but tell us a little bit, without giving too much, about how big it was to pitch the story, how surprised you were it was actually accepted.
It was lovely. I just suddenly had an idea about what to do with Wolverine, and I pitched it to my wonderful editor, Janine Schaefer, who is just a dream to work with. And she initially said, oh, I don't know, let me put that to everybody. And she took it to a Marvel retreat, and apparently it went down really well. Historically, Wolverine, because he got his own book late, big changes for him have always happened in team titles. Not this time. It's going to happen in Wolverine, and it's going to change the character across the board. You're going to, I'm not saying you're going to like it, but you're going to react.
So, Dr. Octopus isn't replacing him, right?
Yeah, it's kind of used to the brains thing, it's his time.
Wow, someone actually wants that. Good work. Next, how many of you love Deadpool? How many of you love the Merc with a mouth? Well, guess what? We do too. Jordan's been shepherding this book. It's been so fun. Let's hear it for Jordan, who brought a really crazy, fun sense of humor to this new volume of Deadpool. Let's hear it for Jordan White. So, he's been Jordan D. White. He's been working with Jerry Dugan, Brian Posehn, a great list of artists including Tony Moore. And now, joining the series will be Declan Shalvey on his first Deadpool book. And he's going to bring a really big story for this. Jordan, tell us what the good, the bad, and the ugly is all about.
Absolutely. If you've read the most recent issue of Deadpool that just came out, I believe it just came out on Wednesday, at the end of the issue, something very mysterious happens. Deadpool's walking down the street, and a beautiful woman comes up to him and distracts him, and all of a sudden he gets knocked out. A bunch of people start pulling organs out of his body and jump in a van and drive away with them. Well, it turns out this isn't the first time it's happened to him. It's been happening to him for a long time. And he goes looking into it, and it's going to be connected to his past with the Weapon X program, aka the Weapon Plus program. So he enlists some help from two other famous graduates from that program, Captain America, who was of course Weapon 1, and Wolverine, Weapon X himself. So, the three of them go in this story called The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. You can decide for yourself which one's good, which one's bad, which one's ugly, but I think it's pretty obvious. And Declan's going to be joining us on art, and Jordy is going to be joining us on the colors.
Yeah, let's hear it for the new team on Deadpool, guys. So, Declan, let's start with you first. What's it been like drawing Deadpool? That's a beautiful cover.
Thank you very much. It was great fun. I'll be honest, I'm really big Wolverine fan, so that kind of really helped to take the job. But no, it's great. I've read the first script, and it's slightly darker story. I kind of really like it. Shows kind of Deadpool's vulnerability in a lot of ways, which made me a lot more interested in it. But it's pretty nuts. It's great fun to draw, and based all my strengths and none of my weaknesses.
And Jordy, this is not the only X book you're coloring. You're also coloring Ultimate Comics X-Men. What's it like working on Deadpool and working with Declan?
I like working with Declan, although it's not the same as working with Brian. But Declan and I have a lot of
Prefers
input.
working with Brian.
I do. I like working with Declan because, of course, we're a couple, so our input's very much a collaborative effort. So it's very exciting, and I actually really hated Deadpool before I got this because I met a really mean cosplayer one year, and it put me off Deadpool for like 8 years. But now that I've read the script, he's warming up to me now. So.
Well, I'm gonna take that cosplayer.
Yeah, wherever you are.
To be fair, Deadpool himself is not that nice of a guy.
No, that's true. And this guy, when he hurt my feelings, he said, "You'll get over it." Can you believe that? A cosplayer. But now, Deadpool though, he's a total sweetie. I like him now.
Okay, well, I'm glad
There's one right there. Is that him?
Get out.
Deadpool, on behalf of Deadpool cosplayers, come up and apologize to Jordy.
I can't see you. It doesn't count.
We're all very Thank you, Deadpool. Now guys, there's one more book we want to talk about. I know you guys all love. And the writer who can't be here today, but I know he wants to hear the applause. How many of you love X Factor? Well, you will not like the next slide. You're laughing, but Jordan and Daniel catching a lot of great people have been editing X Factor over the years, and the 10 years it's been back. It's been an awesome series, the most loyal fans. That book, I'll tell you right now, you look at the sales charts on that, it doesn't dip. Like you guys, when you stick with that book, you stick with that book. And we love you guys for it, but Peter's been looking at his run of the series, looking at the story, what he's doing next at Marvel, and he's decided to bring X Factor to a close. With issue 262 in September, that is covered to 260 in August or July.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry. But that's he's going to be wrapping up a lot of the plot lines he's laid down. Do you want to talk a little bit about this, Jordan, at the end of the series and why Peter chose to really? You guys all felt like it was time to bring it to an end.
Yeah. I've been a fan of the series for a very long time as well, and I was very pleased that I got to work on it before, and I was very excited to become the full editor of it recently, just in time to destroy it. No, Peter has been writing these characters for a really long time, and he has been building the stories into such epic stuff. And right now they're in the middle of the Hell on Earth War arc, which really is a combination of a lot of the supernatural plot lines that have been going on in the series and a lot of the big epic stuff that's been going on. And once he's wrapped that up, he kind of felt like, well, that's like as big as it gets for this one. And I think it's time to kind of wrap up a lot more of the personal stories over this last arc, the end of X Factor. And
Jordan, you made a baby cry with this. Look at that.
This cover here, I don't know if you guys can quite see what it is, but it's Hilarious and Quicksilver. This will be their first time interacting now that she absolutely is 100% sure that Magneto is her father for serious.
And so, and on that note, we actually have a special message from Peter himself. I know you guys are all probably aware Peter's had a few health challenges, issues recently, but he's doing really well. He's been at the office recently, and he wanted to record a video just to let you guys know how much he appreciates your support and the truth about what happened with X Factor. So we might have to start again if I didn't test the audio properly. I apologize.
Hi, I'm Peter David. I couldn't be here for this year's Chicago Comic Con because nobody invited me. But that's okay. I'm here to talk about X Factor. I'm here to talk about the wonderful 10 years that I had writing the book for all the fans who have stuck with me all this time. I want to say thank you, and I wanted to talk about what we have planned for the final issues. We have some very exciting stuff. We have some very exciting stuff as we work on the story finishing after the Hell on Earth Wars. The Hell on Earth War, of course, was the conclusion of a major storyline that I've had planned for many years. And after that, we are going directly Why what? Well, the sales have been good, but not fantastic, and but it's okay because I'm going to be working. Look, I'm really sorry, but we're going to be doing some really exciting last issues that are going to be focusing on each of the individual characters. We're going to be focusing on Layla Miller, and we're going to do an issue, finally answering about the connection between Shatterstar and Longshot. I mean, doesn't that sound good? I have another project coming up from Marvel I can't really talk about right now, but it's really exciting. Okay? So I hope that all of you will be there for it. And I have to go attend to my daughter. Okay, come here. Damn you, Marvel.
You guys raise your hands. How many of you watched the 90s Xmen cartoon on Fox? How many of you remember that theme song? Yeah, okay, cool. So guys, we're gonna ham it up for the cameras here because MTV's here, and because you may not know, but Jordan is actually a very accomplished ukulele player. And so he's brought his ukulele, and I want you guys all, Jordan's gonna lead us, humming along to sing the 90s Xmen theme song. Do you want to turn the lights up a little bit? You can see Jordan play?
I'm going to play the chords. You guys all have to help me with the sing-along for the melody. You guys all know the melody, right? Yeah.
I'm not kidding. You're on the camera. And Blake Garris from Marvel.com, his favorite song is 22 by Taylor Swift. We weren't sure if everybody would know the words, so we chose right. Alright guys, so look, we've entertained you, now you can entertain us with your questions. So line up at the booth, at the podium, mic, and microphone. Feel free to ask us anything on your mind.
I was just curious if anybody from the movies had contacted you about story ideas for the new movie they're doing, Days of Future Past, if they had talked to you about that at all, or if there's no contact at all between the two.
There's contact with some of the various Marvel folks, not necessarily with us or any of the people here on this panel. But Fox has the rights to do those movies, and they've got guys that are devoted to putting them together. So we'll get to see stuff, and we'll get to coordinate with them a little bit, not to the same extent as a Marvel Studios film, but there's been some back and forth. Do we know what's in it? Not really.
So a lot of the X-books I read at home, Xmen and Uncanny Xmen, are very fantastic, so thank you all for that. One of the things that I do is I go on the comic sites and read these reviews, and one of the things that I keep seeing is a lot of people back Cyclops, especially after his raw deal that he got at AVX and the Consequences. And one of the things I saw that a lot of fans want to do is they want you guys to contact a shirt company and make a really epic Cyclops was right shirt, because I think a lot of people, including me, believe that Cyclops was right. And thank you. Team Cyclops!
You can actually buy one. You can definitely buy a Cyclops is Right shirt from Mighty Fine. You go to WeLoveFine.com. It's actually officially licensed. It's Magneto is Right shirt, a Cyclops is Right shirt.
I think they have some downstairs.
They do have some downstairs. There's something downstairs actually right now.
Everybody here in the room wearing a Cyclops was right.
Anybody wearing one right now?
Anybody here actually got one?
You would have got such an awesome prize.
Because they know Cyclops was not right.
If I was at the school and Cyclops came, I would have totally joined them in a heartbeat. Just saying.
I feel like he's Quentin to the choir. I just, you never, man, I feel like we're fucking choir. You sit there and you serve Wolverine.
So ever since I was a little kid, I was always a giant X-Men fan and also a giant Lego fan. So I really love the Lego sets that Marvel's put out. Currently they only have one for X-Men with Deadpool, Wolverine, and Magneto. Are there any plans to increase or like expand some of the Lego sets for X-Men and possibly have some based after the comics and not just the movies?
That is really for our Disney consumer products team to work with Lego to answer. We don't want to speak for them.
Can you throw your weight around?
Pardon?
Throw your weight around?
Yeah, I wish I could, but I love more X-Men Legos, but they're... September? You want to say September? Okay, September sounds good.
You would know.
Yeah.
My question's for Brian. You can see my shirt. I am pretty psyched about your X-Men coming up. So, since pretty much all of the members of that book are on other teams, like Uncanny X-Force, Uncanny Avengers, things like that, are you going to touch on that at all? About their involvement in other teams like that? Or is it just going to be, like a little self-contained bubble of awesome?
No, it's definitely part of the whole. So I have this initial arc, which is fairly self-contained, and then I go right into this anniversary event. So it'll be at least six to eight months before I do write anything that does sort of touch on other books.
Thank you.
Hi, I have two quick questions for Mr. Remender. The first question was, have you read the Guardians of the Galaxy, the Dan Abnett and Andy Lanning, I believe, running Guardians of the Galaxy?
Unfortunately, not all of it, but what I have read is nice, and I'm caught up on what happened. Those guys were doing it in King War of Kings and all that stuff.
Are you familiar with Nowhere?
With what?
Nowhere, that's the giant floating celestial head. That was like their...
Oh, it was their base?
Yeah, it was the base.
Yeah.
And so you had Uncanny Avengers when you had Thor,
his axe.
Yeah, Jan Jorner, I think, or Jan...
It's not a bad one. I think, how do you know?
John Jordan?
Maybe John
But, they killed the Celestial. So do you think possibly that, somehow Kang went back and chopped the Celestial's head off with the axe, and then just happened to float in space for all that time, and then, in cosmos...
Where did that Celestial head come from? We never found out. I see what you're saying.
The future, because Kang
whether or not that head was jarred free during the Apocalypse Twins' reign is a good question. It's not something that we've, backtracked. I like to do the beautiful mind dot connecting, so I'm glad to meet other people who do as well. But I hadn't considered that. But what we're seeing and what we're going to see is an epic scale with the Apocalypse Twins escalating what they're doing with the Celestials, and that axe that Thor made basically is going to be a huge downfall for him. It was not just a small mistake, like enchanting that axe and going against Thor and Odin, and now what they've got there is something that literally is the only thing in the entire Marvel Universe that can crack through a Celestial's hull, or their armor, or Apocalypse's armor. That's a pretty powerful thing. But yeah, the Celestial heads, that is the Celestial head that you saw cut off in the press issue.
And then I had another concept. You know how the book's Uncanny Avengers, it takes, obviously the Avengers title and the Uncanny X-Men combination. How about you do a book called Amazing Avengers, where you get Avengers all dressed up in Spider-Man suits? And they just fight, they just fight.
That's a good idea.
And they just fight.
October, yes.
Despite different Spider-Man villains, and amazing Spider-Man villains.
I love it. And it would be a way for me to sort of get my hands on Spider-Man without ever actually getting assigned the title. So that's a nice idea.
So Newsarama.com has posted a bunch of pictures from Battle for the Atom, and there's it says here in the notes, a blue-skinned, red hair, somewhat son of Wolverine looking with a white costume.
Yeah, that's already when it's supposed to go out.
Okay.
Enjoy.
So Wolverine and Mystique have a kid, it kind of sounds like?
No comment.
So one of my favorite X-books over the past year was Greg Pak's Extreme X-Men, and I was really heartbroken to see it go over the past month or so, because he had done so many wonderful things. I mean, we have this kind of Teddy Roosevelt Wolverine running around, we got Civil War Cyclops, and these guys are still out there at the end of the series. So I was just wondering, who do I have to beg or bribe or do unsavory things to get more stories with these guys?
Yeah, me. No, I'm just kidding. Like with any characters like that from a series that ends, yeah, they're still out there, and it just will take the right writer to have a great idea with them that wants to bring them back. I mean, Rick bringing back the Sentry, things like that. You never know when these things will happen.
I think maybe they'll have more score of the Amazing Avengers team.
Yeah, they're going to go someplace like
Rick just brought back Banshee 2, which, I wanted to do. Thanks, Rick.
Well, yeah, thanks. I made you back.
All right, thank you.
Hi, I was just wondering if there was any way we would see X-23 back in any of the X titles.
I think you need to first read the last arc of the first season of Avengers Arena. We announced it called Boss Level. She's on one of the covers. You're going to find out who lives, who dies, who wins the Avengers Arena, or wins Murder World. And I think once you read that, you have a better idea of what may or may not be possible with X-23.
Okay, thank you.
Hi, I was wondering why you chose Sentry to be resurrected as one of the four horsemen.
I'll be honest.
When comparing to he's not a mutant, but he's also one of the most powerful.
Well, but these guys realize what they're dealing with is Avengers and X-Men trying to unify, and the Apocalypse Twins have seen the future. They've seen different parts of the future. They were raised by Kang, right? So they've got an idea of what's coming up, and what they're trying to do, I can't talk about, but it demands that they deal with both the Avengers and the X-Men, so that this isn't just an X-centric threat. We played with Ares as an option, and going back and forth on it, I landed on Sentry, because I think that the character's got a lot of potential that was not untapped, but I came up with directions in my head that I think are a lot of fun, and there's context. Thor took him down, and so Thor's on my team, and Thor's also the one who's responsible for enchanting the axe that is now causing and going to continue to cause bigger and bigger problems. So it was fun. You get the rematch between Sentry and Thor, and I had character reasons, because what happens with somebody who was suffering psychosis and had schizophrenia and all the different problems that he was dealing with the void that was in there, what happens when you replace that with the death persona that's sort of akin to archangels, and that led down to some it took me down more interesting roads than Ares did as a choice for somebody to get a powerhouse in there.
I wanted Ares. I lost.
I had actually one more, if it's okay. But I know you touched on why Warren's memories and everything, but
we go more deeper into like the clean slate and like why people are asking this question, like why do you have metal wings, or or like his business, how stuff like that.
You know, Jason and I had a plan, and I think he's hinted at it in the course of his series. Basically, Warren was killed. Archangel was stabbed with a life seed, and these are the celestial seeds that they plant on new worlds to literally grow entire new planets full of life. So what this thing did was, as Warren was dead, this thing basically regrew something out of that husk in his form, and it's a whole new being. And I think that in Jason's series, they've recently seen a countdown, that there's something, there's an energy inside of him that's depleting. And that, when we get to that part of the story, definitely will be explained more. But what's there is not Warren. Warren did die, and that's a body that looks like Warren that was regrown by the seed. Thank you.
First of all, I just wanted to say that I'm a big fan of a number of the X books. I like reading them all. I don't particularly have a favorite. Although I do like the X-Men title with all the female members, and it really amazed me as to how you guys have like all the major female characters of the X-Men. So my question is that like what made you guys like come to that decision to make a book like that?
Well, it kind of came to me. I don't really know what the genesis of that was. I mean, I think it's something my editor, Janine Schaefer, had been pushing for possibly years, I'm not sure. But the X book I was writing last year was essentially an all-female cast, save for one. So it was kind of very easy to sort of like go from that into this. And fortunately, I was sort of like in the top spot to be the writer of it. I mean, I think it's overdue. I mean, the X-Men sort of world franchise is just so full of great female characters, more than anything else, really, more than any other universe. So, I mean, it's about time, right?
And also, with the Battle for the Atom Sword that's supposed to come out in September, though, is it possible, though, that maybe certain character resurrections, like, say, maybe Nightcrawler or, dare I say, Jean Grey, make their eventual return?
Here's a quick question. How many people want Jean Grey back? How many people are okay with the way things are? Yeah, you never know.
Yeah, well, they say though the X-Men come back to life more than Jesus.
I think, no, you be fair, Jean Grey's only died technically once, hasn't she?
Yeah.
She didn't die as Phoenix. She only died in the Grey Wars.
As I like to tell people, Jean Grey did not go Dark Phoenix. Phoenix went Dark Jean Grey. Because that wasn't Jean, that was the Phoenix, pretending. Retcon.
I actually have a question related to the new X-Men series as well. I know there's the whole female cast. Is that going to open like a floodgate of all like the cool female X-Men like Dazzler, Armor, Husk? Like are a bunch of them going to be featured in this?
Yeah, she just said I hope so, yeah. Sure, I mean, I'm not sure when exactly. I kind of feel like I sort of have my hands full right now with this book that hasn't even launched yet. But we'll get there. I mean, I think the other thing we're trying to not do is have this book that doesn't have like a single man in it. That's obviously not the point. It's obviously not the point either. So we just gotta kind of find the balance there.
I think what he's really saying is what issue is Marrow in? Let's get straight.
I'm a big fan of just about every single X title you guys put out. But one thing I've noticed is that some of the classic younger characters that have been around for a while haven't really been on screen in Wolverine and the X-Men, like Nole, for example. I was wondering if you guys had any plans for them, especially considering 50 and the anniversary coming out.
Yeah, I was just talking to somebody about that today. About one of the things that's sort of a bummer about the X-Men is that it's a good thing and a bad thing. Is that one of the things that happens is that new characters get added a lot, and that's great because you end up with so many new awesome characters. But unfortunately, it does mean that some of the more recent newer characters, or not the new-esque characters, end up getting ignored and forgotten. We have a master list of all the characters who are at the Jean Grey School. We actually did the chart in issue 25, updating it for all the different students there. So we know they're all there, but unfortunately there's not enough room to spotlight all of them. Hopefully in Battle for the Atom you'll see them, but yeah, I mean, again, it'll take a writer saying, I've got a great story for Anole, I've got a great story for Face, for us to really have to spotlight them. And right now they're more looking at Quentin and Ivy and characters like that.
Okay, thank you. How's it going? Yeah, first I just want to say I'm a big fan of all things X-Men. I love what's been going on post AVX, and I just had 2 questions. First is, once the battle with the Apocalypse Twins is over, are the Uncanny Avengers going to go after Red Skull again because he's still out there with Professor X powers?
He's right there. It's a big, that's a big deal, and like you saw, that's going to escalate into something bigger and bigger. And the Apocalypse Twins, you'll find out in their future, have dealt with the Red Skull / Onslaught, and they've come back. They're a little terrified of things they've seen. So you've got the yin and the yang now. You've got Red Skull with Xavier's power up, basically running his S-Men and his Nazi hate propaganda, trying to wipe out the mutants. And then you've got the Apocalypse Twins, who will save the mutants at any cost. So these are very perfectly diametrically opposed, people and groups. And obviously the Uncanny Avengers are in the middle trying to hold together the idea of unity. And that becomes very difficult when you've got fanatics and extremists on those levels.
In the meantime, I will say Red Skull's also going to pop up in X-Men Legacy. So Xavier's son is going to come up against the guy who has his dead father's brain. So that should be exciting.
And my second question is, in Battle for the Atom, is there a chance that everybody who is depowered from being part of the Phoenix Five, or that their power is going to return and increase, possibly like Magic's did?
I don't think we can say anything about what's going to happen to those characters there. We don't spoil too much beyond the art that we weren't supposed to put out.
I will say, if you look at what happened to Magic in the most recent issue of Uncanny, something is wonky with her as well. And the arc that is before Battle for the Atom, you're going to see some of what's up with Magic. So it's not quite as simple as it looks.
It looked like Emma Frost's telepathy was starting to slowly come back.
She's working on it.
It might be cool if Magneto and Red Skull had a fight at some point. Yeah. That might be a cool thing, right? Yeah. We might build for that. And maybe Alex and Scott get involved and have a fight, and Wanda. I mean, it seems like there's a whole story that might be able to be told.
All right, guys, you guys do the last 4 questions. We got about 5 minutes, so.
That sounds awesome, Magneto Red Skull. But do you have any plans for the Young Avengers and some like the younger X-Men to maybe meet? Because Loki has like a connection to like Danny and like her Gang of New Mutants back when, and I'd really like to see some Wiccan hanging out with some mutants.
There's a little bit. Kieran is bringing Prodigy into Young Avengers with issue 6. So Prodigy will be showing up there, be recurring in the book. Beyond that, it's sort of wait and see if somebody writing any of these characters has an interest in intersecting with some of the other characters. The Prodigy and Young Avengers 6 for sure.
Thanks very much.
Hey guys, 2 quick questions. First, I guess for Rick and Paul, regarding Wolverine and Killable. At the end of Uncanny X-Force, they had documented this just diabolically elegant and simple solution for killing Wolverine, just drowning. And I think when we all read that, it was like, like how come nobody ever thought of that before? So I'm just wondering if that is going to be part of Killable at all? Or?
It's something that's going to be dealt with before Killable, actually. We thought about that an awful lot, that's right. Yeah, that was in our heads.
it was so simple and just a great solution.
Yeah, I think that you know, everybody agrees he needs a kryptonite. He needs something that's
Right.
like, you know, or else it just stops. There's no consequences. There's no stakes, and these guys are just people cutting each other. And when I got my head around and, you know, worked with Nick Lowe and Jason Aaron on figuring out that era.
Yeah.
Every story was like, and then Sabretooth and Wolverine cut up each other and blood flows, and then they're okay. And I just couldn't write it. I wanted to drown myself. Frankly. So yeah, but what's coming up is a huge escalation beyond that. I think that's established as canon, as something that will exist. But what's coming next for the character, not just with the resurrection of the son that he drowned, but with what Paul has planned. I think the beauty is that we're all working to push the ball down the field and not let him stagnate. It's going to be a new Wolverine, and it speaks to the heart of the character.
Cool, awesome. And just really quick, I don't know if this is more of a question for Bendis or just generally for you guys, but it seems like there's so much time travel happening in the Marvel Universe now, and once upon a time, didn't really have any consequences on the main universe to just branch off and create this new 718 whatever universe. But now it seems like things matter when you time travel all of a sudden. I'm wondering, is that part of what's going on in Avengers, with the universe being broken, or do you guys just kind of decide, hey, it matters now, or?
I think in particular, especially after the issue of Age of Ultron that just came out, issue 6, there's stuff coming up in Age of Ultron that speaks right to the heart of what you're talking about.
Okay.
So yeah, this stuff is all kind of part of a crazy mosaic. And by the end of Age of Ultron, you'll kind of get like a roadmap as to what's going on.
And then looking forward past that, the Kang of it all and Uncanny Avengers. I think when we get to issues 20, 25, 30, and you start to see what Kang is doing and what he's up to, and really get an idea, it's going to deal with all of that, and it's going to deal with how Kang wants to maybe manipulate that for his own benefit.
And also, if you read The Indestructible Hulk, he's going to be dealing with some weakness in the fabric of reality and have to take on a very different mission beginning in July.
Cool.
Okay, last two.
Hi. What it was, with the cancellation of Extreme X-Men and Age of Apocalypse, and now with X-Factor ending, are there any new X-Files coming up, maybe as part of Marvel now, the second wave or something?
There will be new X-Men titles at some point in the future. I don't want to say how soon, but yes.
No, don't be hasty.
Watch for Amazing Avengers.
Thank you.
Hi guys, two quick questions. It's been a really rough month for a Nightcrawler fan. We've got 3 dead Nightcrawlers now. What do we have to look forward to as a Nightcrawler fan? Any hope for the Nightcrawler fans out there? What should we hold on to? What should we be reading, waiting for?
Read those back issues. He's still
No. You can read about very small, non-talking things that look a little like Nightcrawler and Wolverine and X-Men. That's the closest you got right now.
Or George can do his little Nightcrawler band impression right now.
Go on, my cats pretend he's a band.
I know.
Helps a little bit. But
Yeah, a lot of people in the X-Men office love Nightcrawler. That was not a decision you guys made easy when you killed him.
The third time. The last question was, any X-Men animated series on the works? I mean, we've got some Avengers, some Hulk, everything else, but the real good ones as we sung along were the X-Men. So, do we have any X-Men animated things in the works?
I would say, we can't comment on that, but if you want to see some X-Men characters like Wolverine, keep watching on Disney XD, Ultimate Spider-Man, Marvel's Avengers Assemble, and Marvel's Hulk and the Agents of Smash. You'll see different characters. Like Wolverine's probably the most prominent one to see, to be honest, or the one that comes to mind. But there's a great episode that Brian Bendis wrote with the mind swap of Wolverine and Spider-Man last season, and based on what he did in the Ultimate series, and you'll see more Wolverine, so you always get it there. Thank you. Just a reminder, if you guys at MTV is looking for volunteers, Alex and Denise, to have you talk to them about your reaction to the Paul Cornell killable news. So they'd love to chat with you, get you on camera, and make you a star. Maybe they'll put you on Jersey Shore. Thanks a lot, guys.